Let's talk about realistic goals too. When we start talking about de-escalation, I want you to remember first and foremost, you cannot de-escalate anyone.
Today's video is sponsored by Backstreet Surveillance, Active Self-Protection's trusted source for home and business surveillance. They offer free expert system design and quotes using their Backstreet Surveillance system design tool to help you build the perfect system for your application. They also offer nationwide professional installation, remote smartphone monitoring, and their revolutionary 360 4K camera to help you keep track of and protect that which you love. Check them out at the link in the description and thank them for bringing us today's video.
You're not in charge of their internal workings. Only they can de-escalate themselves, right? However, you have a definitive role to play, but they have a definitive role to play, and your role to play is to open pathways for them, to give them off-ramps in order to de-escalate themselves, to regulate their behavior and their thinking. Your goal must be, when possible, to open pathways to more easily choose to regulate their own behavior and to regulate their own emotions. You can't do that for them. Okay? You're not in charge of someone's internals. Some guy's all pissed off that you cut him off on the road, and unless you've got Jedi mind tricks, you can't change his mind. But you can give him doors open for him to regulate his own emotions. This is just like in a fight with your spouse. Can you control how your spouse feels? No, you may not. You may think you can control their emotions. No, you can't. But you can open doors for us to tune it down and to reopen lines of communication, okay? This necessarily involves maximizing discretionary time to allow for maximum opportunity. So we talk about emergency time versus discretionary time. As a police officer, we talk about this. You see cops do this all the time. They are taught, close with my perp, with my person that I am thinking about, and get everybody in cuffs. Because now I control the situation, but of course, when I close distance with somebody, I lose time and I lose options and opportunities. Whereas maybe if I'm talking with somebody and I've left this reactionary gap here, now I have a little bit more discretionary time because he's not attacking right now or something like that. We see this with cops all the time. You see a guy that's got a knife and he's standing there in the front yard and he's arguing with him. And the cop's gonna step, well, I'm stepping in, you're gonna drop that knife right now. Whereas I'll back him up all the time and go, hey man, just back up a minute. Is there a reason you've got to end this right now? If he's stabbing his baby mama with it or threatening somebody with it, you got to do something about that right now. He's standing there all by himself. Hey man, let's take a deep breath. Tell me what's going on today. I'm going to stay here. Don't you come any nearer me. There's nothing I want to do in this world less than come any closer to you. And so I'm maintaining that cushion of space and time, all right? Likewise, if you are trying to de-escalate a conflict, maintaining that discretionary buffer, so in other words, when I'm in an emergency, I have to take the actions that mitigate the emergency. But instead, if I have a buffer of space and time, now I have discretion about what I can do. Now I can choose different paths to walk down. Maybe one of those paths to walk down is to leave. We had a couple of others. We had a woman that in our de-escalation training that was having a schizophrenic episode. So she's non-compass menace, okay? And you go, I've never dealt with somebody in a schizophrenic episode. There's a zero discernible difference from an end user perspective between a schizophrenic episode and meth high, okay? Somebody's high on meth, it's the same thing. In fact, when they want to test drugs for schizophrenia, what they do is they pump mice full of meth and get them high as larks on meth, and then they feed them the drugs to see if it changes their behavior. That's how they do it, okay? So you can't tell if somebody is like, oh, that guy's he's just high on meth. Maybe, or maybe somebody is having a manic schizophrenic episode. You can't tell. I can't tell either. I'm not a clinician and I don't have no drug tests. So functionally they're the same. Non-compass menace, okay, cool. She's talking to us about how the stars are in alignment and the dragons are out to get her and all these things. And I'm like, great, I'm backing this one down a little bit. Let's see, can we get crisis response over here? Can we get trained professionals this away, pretty please? And she was, talking us in circles and messing around with us. And I just maintained some space, maintained some time, and maintained my calm. What's your name? And she gave me like 5 different names in the time that we were talking to her. And then once crisis response showed up, I was like, oh yeah, crisis here, trained crisis counselor. Thank you. I don't know anything about this person, but they are now yours. Have a nice day. And I hecked off, right? And it was kind of funny because all of the we had a police supervisor at each one and a crisis response supervisor at each one, and all the cops, they were like, man, I wish I could get more cops to act like you guys. And I go, guys, it's just a difference in mission. You train these other guys to close with people and take them into custody. It's not my job, so I ain't doing it. Simple as that. And you train them to do the thing, and then they do the thing, and you get mad at them for doing the thing. It doesn't sound very fair to me. But anyhow, so this is maximum discretionary time, and our ultimate aim is to resolve the situation that we're in with the minimum force necessary to achieve a satisfactory end. I want to be very clear about this. You want to minimize the amount of force that you use. So this is why we don't ask, when can I use deadly force? It's when must I. It's not, well, can I punch a guy if? And you might be okay legally, but again, are you using the minimum force necessary at the right time? My point is that what is our ultimate aim? These are our realistic goals, right? We don't want to use force to the maximum extent possible. If you can talk your way out of a conflict, I know plenty of people that carry guns though, and I hear from them on the internet all the time. And they go, I wish a fool would. No, you do not.